I've been asked quite a lot to make a video like this. Rather than discussing what you should do with an escape from Tarkov, I'm going to be talking about the things you really shouldn't do. The mistakes a lot of new players make which could hinder your playing experience, and don't worry if you're doing a lot of these things on this list, because after all, there's a reason these are on my list. I've made these mistakes too. If this video is enjoyable, helpful, or gives you something to think about, then I recommend just giving that thumbs up button a little touch and subscribing to stay up to date with the future content. But without further ado, the first mistake I'm going to talk about is going headfirst in taking every firefight. Tarkov isn't a game where you get rewarded based on your KD, it's a game that rewards you for surviving. So running into a team of heavily geared players while you're a solo baby boy with a Mosin strapped to your shoulder probably won't be a fight that you'll walk away from unscathed. There are so many factors that can determine who has an advantage whilst in an engagement. Firepower, armor protection, the amount of people, even the location of a firefight could all make a massive difference. So it is 100% okay to hear a shot or see a team crossing an open field and then not to engage, and turn around, go the other way and get out with whatever you have on you at the time. Observe the target if you can before engaging and make a decision on whether or not it's a fight that you want to take. Look at the armor they're wearing, the amount of cover around them and the weapons they are carrying. For example, if they have decent gear, but you know that they are far enough away and you would like to engage, if you know you have to jump on them and they have hardly any cover around them, then go ahead. It's likely, if your shots are accurate enough, that you'll take out one or more targets before they even know they're being engaged, which, if that is the case, you'll have more of a level playing field and the odds will sway more in your favour. If you, on the other hand, are running and suddenly get shot at, you know it's roughly in a certain direction but you're unable to pinpoint the precise location of where exactly they are, I would dip in and out of cover and either run away or perform a wide enough flank around the general area that you know you're being shot at, taking it slow and checking your surroundings heavily. The reason I say this is because even though you are only thinking that there is one target shooting at you, Tarkov law of fuckery states that there is always another, so that's where you need to be cautious. Getting the jump on the enemy is the biggest advantage you can ask for in a firefight. Mistake number 2, looting absolutely everything. Loot is one of the main goals of Tarkov. Get as much loot as possible and sell it to traders to make a quick buck, right? Well, yes and also no. The amount of players that I see carrying really useless items in their backpack is crazy. It's all well and good picking up an item that you find in a duffel bag, but do you know really what that item is worth if you sell it to a trader? And how much does it weigh? Because weight plays a huge part in Tarkov now, where if you're carrying too much, you'll be slower when moving around the map, and that will often be the difference between surviving and not surviving a raid. The way I play is, if it isn't a valuable item, needed for a quest or to upgrade my hideout, then I don't pick it up at all. By doing this, I'm able to save space and weight for some good weapons or armor that I find on an enemy, or to keep me light on my feet in case I need to dip out of a firefight or run between cover quickly. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but Sam, how do I know what items are valuable and which are not? Well, in Tarkov, you need to look at value per slot, not value as the item in total. For example, you may find a valuable item that takes up 4 slots in your inventory. You pick it up, but then you find 3 items that only take up 1 slot in your inventory, but give you a combined total of a much bigger profit. That's where I recommend studying this Google sheet. There is a link in the description. It's made by a Reddit user called Chrome, and he has a complete breakdown of the items found in Tarkov and their value per slot. It's very user friendly. It has filters for either value or alphabetical order for the items, and not just value per slot, but this sheet also shows you whether it's needed for certain quests or if it's needed for hideout upgrades. It'll also show you whether you should sell it to traders, use the items in valuable barters to make more profit, or sell it on the flea market in order to make the most profit possible. As stated, some items are needed for quests, and that is where the Escape from Tarkov wiki comes in. If you click this link, it's also in the description below. It has a really detailed image of what quest items need to be kept for specific traders, but it also has a list of quests that can be sorted by trader below it, so you can keep track on whether or not you still need that item or how long you will need to leave it sitting around in your inventory before it's needed for the quest. The Escape from Tarkov wiki also has a similar page for the hideout. There will be a link for that in the description as well. You'll see a similar image for items that need to be kept specifically for hideout upgrades, and by the way, I 100% recommend upgrading the hideout as early as possible because you'll get so many post-raid benefits, it's unbelievable. This next tip is quite a big one. Better weapons and armor does not make you invincible. People in Tarkov really do cry a lot when they die with a lot of gear, so much so that people made memes on it. For some strange reason, people think that if they are running high tier and expensive armors, they're not going to die as easy. And while in some cases this is true, it's not always the case. Someone with a really budget loadout can still kill one of those meta chads stomping around the map. This is purely because ammo is way more important than any weapon itself. Some ammo has better armor penetration, while others have better damage to flesh. If you are using an ammo type with a strong mix of armor penetration and flesh damage, then you are extremely likely to penetrate high tier armors, and if you are hitting a helmet or the face shield, you'll probably kill a target in 1 or 2 bullets. To really figure out what ammo is best, then you should check out this video I made which goes into depth of ammo types that you should be using. There is a link in the video description and a card on screen for easy access. Not only ammo type, but you have to remember that the hitbox on a character in Escape from Tarkov is quite complex. The upper body isn't just one box, it's separated into limbs, stomach and thorax, and the face and the head is even more complex than that. So with that, you need to look at the armor based on more than just the armor class itself. When inspecting the armor, you can see what parts of the body it's protecting. So combine that with the armor class and you will find the best armor to use for situations. You will also find in Tarkov that there is currently very few body armors that protect the arms, and there is absolutely no leg armor at this moment in time, so getting shot in the legs with any weapon can be fatal. Leg meta is a common phrase that is used within the game's life cycle, and is still a viable option of taking down targets. So if you are dying while spending all this money on expensive armor, instead you might want to focus more on the protective armors and the ammo types you decide to use. Take these both into consideration when gearing up in the future. Mistake number 4 is gear fear, and I can talk about this for hours. We've all been there. You're dying a lot, you've lost a lot of money, and the last bit of money you have is sitting there in the form of high tier weapons and armor. So obviously, rather than running that gear and trying to survive to get more gear, it sits in your stash gathering dust and you go in as a hatchling trying to get out stuff for nothing. Gear fear is something a majority of players go through, and it can be a really massive hindrance in growth and improvement within their Tarkov career. Firstly, it's easier said than done, but if it's sitting in your stash, it's just wasted pixels. At the moment and for quite some time in the future, Tarkov will continue to wipe along with certain updates, meaning your stash will be emptied and replaced with the starting equipment. It will get rid of all your levels, all your traders will be reset back to level 1, and your skills will go back to 0 as well. So you're basically starting afresh, so if you don't use it, you're going to end up losing it anyway. And there are tons of reasons I could give you, so much so that I made a video years ago when Tarkov was just starting out that has tons of reasons for you to get over gear fear. I will link this in the description and the card annotation where you can see loads of different reasons for you. Some might apply, some might not, but in short, gear fear is just a mentality. Once you get over it, you will feel a whole weight lifted. Trust me. Mistake number 5. Running straight for the loot. When you've just killed someone, all the excitement of looting kicks in and you run straight up to a body no matter where they are and you try and loot it. The majority of the time you'll find yourself getting shot at from another direction or killed out of nowhere. So once you kill a target, stop, look around and wait. As mentioned earlier, there is a rule around Tarkov where if you kill one person, there is always another. Even if you end up dropping a 5-man, always expect another, because the amount of noise that you've just made will likely bring people towards that direction because they are looking for loot just like you are. So stop, look around and scan any high points around your location. If people can get the high ground on you, you are at an instant disadvantage, so make sure you take the time to look before looting. The dead body isn't going anywhere. And when you do end up reaching the body, loot quickly, and there are a few keyboard shortcuts that you could use to loot better. If you control-click an item, it will move it directly from whatever you are looting into a backpack, pockets, or rig. If you hold Alt and then click on an item, it will move it directly from what you are looting onto your person, i.e. an empty weapon slot, empty rig, or an empty backpack slot. Pressing delete will also help you, because if you're hovering over an item, it will instantly discard it from your inventory and drop it to the floor. You can also use the middle mouse button while hovering over a weapon with a foldable stock to fold the weapon to save space when you're looting it. Mistake number 6 is copying other people's playstyles. Now this is a difficult one to explain, so please bear with me. I find it extremely common for people to watch streamers and content creators on Escape from Tarkov and then instantly try and copy everything they are doing, expecting to instantly play just like they do. Unfortunately, this is not the case. In fact, copying someone else's playstyle, especially when you're new, could honestly demotivate you more than anything else. It's all well and good adopting pieces of advice from guide videos or trying out specific graphic settings or keyboard layouts from your favourite streamers, but when you're trying to study every bit of a way someone plays just to be as good as them, it won't work out. Tarkov players get their experience through a mixture of firefights, trial and error, and knowledge of maps. This only comes by playing your own way. Some playstyles you see may be physically impossible for you to replicate. An example of this is with me. I would love to be as good in combat as my buddy Ghost Freak. He has impeccable aim and is godly in a lot of firefights, but his aggressive playstyle does not suit me at all. Through trial and error, I have found that I am a lot more successful by taking a stealth approach with a light loadout, taking out targets from range, than I am in close quarters maps like labs, where flick shooting and jumping around the map like you're Mario on a special kind of mushrooms actually becomes a better playstyle. Give me the open plain fields over stimulant junkies any day. Your own playstyle will develop over time. You should expect this to take some time though, it ain't gonna happen overnight. After some trial and error, the way you enjoy playing will start to blossom, and then from there, you will be able to find fellow players who have a similar playstyle who you could team up with and just make it a more successful, enjoyable playing experience. Don't forget that Tarkov is a game that is extremely difficult to master. You will need to learn and adapt to all kinds of engagements that you will encounter, but it's okay to have strengths and weaknesses at the same time. Mistake number 7 is not so much a mistake that could be the difference between living and dying in raid, but is definitely a mistake that limits the amount of money you can make while selling items to traders, and that is because you're selling to the wrong traders. Through playing Tarkov, you will see that there are a lot of items that can be sold to more than one trader. So what do? Well, if you're trying to level up that specific trader quickly, then by all means go ahead and sell to that one. But if you're looking to make the most money out of the items you've got through raids, then you need to sell specific items to specific traders. Not all traders are actually worth selling to, in fact. Usually when I come out of raid, I sell my items in this order. I go to Therapist first, who buys medical items, barter items and electronics for the most money. Then I move over to Skier. He buys weapon mods, although he won't buy all of them, armor and clothing for the most money, and then I go to Mechanic, who will buy the remaining weapon mods, weapons themselves and ammunition. Those are the main traders who would likely in total buy all of your items that you've picked up through your raids, and it will make you the most profit. Of course though, the flea market is available to you, and sometimes selling items there will give you a larger profit than selling directly to traders. So if in doubt, check the flea market first, or the value per slot sheet mentioned earlier that is linked in the description, but make sure that you are aware that sometimes going to traders is the best bet, especially now 12.6 is adding the fact that if it's not found in raid, then you cannot sell it on the flea market anyway. This includes weapons and armors that you're picking up off of dead PMCs in the raids themselves. A quick thing on top of this is if you have a lovely modded weapon that you're looking to sell, don't just go ahead and sell it to Mechanic and expect you're getting the best price. Break down the weapon, take every attachment off of it and sell the attachments to the respected traders, and then you can go ahead and sell the base weapon itself. There is now a quick way to disassemble weapons. All you need to do is have it in your stash, right click on it and click disassemble, then bing bang boom, you have a weapon and all of its attachments separate to sell to Skier and Mechanic. Mistake number 8. Sprinting everywhere and not preserving your stamina. Tarkov has no vehicles to get around the map quicker, so the only way to get from one side to the other is by giving it legs. Sprinting is both good and bad, but the situation you are in plays a massive part. Sprinting absolutely everywhere though is not such a good idea. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings before doing so. It's extremely loud on the majority of surfaces in the game, giving any players in the surrounding area a rough idea of where you are, and if their map knowledge is anywhere near decent, then they could pinpoint your precise location and get the jump on you while you're gallivanting around an open field. When you're sprinting too, it also takes a little amount of time from when you stop running to having your gun ready at the shoulder position ready to fire. So if you're running headfirst into people, then they will likely have a slight time advantage on getting shots on target before you are even ready to fire. When I'm moving around the map personally, I always keep at least a quarter of my leg stamina available at all times. It's very rare that I ever let it dip into the red. This is purely because if I get into a firefight and I suddenly need to move into a different position, say I need better cover or grenades are being thrown in my direction, it's good to have that stamina spare as a reserve to quickly get out of your position that you're currently in and move into a better one. If I'm going through bushes where I know that there are likely enemies nearby, I don't sprint either. It's quite hard to avoid the sound of rustling in bushes as it is, so sprinting into them not only makes it 10 times harder to avoid them, it also makes it 10 times louder. There's a perfect example on the customs map around the dorms area. There are tons of bushes there, so I usually go quite slow anywhere near that area. Bushes and low hanging trees make so much noise, and it makes anyone inside of the dorms easily able to come to the window or the roof of the third story and instantly not only have the high ground, but much better cover and the jump on me, so I'm usually going to lose that firefight if I'm too loud around that area, cause dorms is definitely a hotspot when it comes to the customs map. Mistake number 9 is 2 little mistakes merged into one cause they are very similar, and that is peeking the same angle twice and not checking your corners. It's pretty safe to say that a lot of us decide that it's a good idea to peek from cover, then instantly go back into cover, and then peek again from the same position when in a firefight, either with players or scavs. But if you do this, it is likely that you become a pile of brain goop on the floor when your head gets shot off the moment you reveal yourself from cover again. If you're behind cover or in a standoff in a firefight and you peek an angle, this tells the enemy what angles you have to engage them from, and it is likely that they'll be watching that angle ready for you to reveal yourself again. If possible, you want to expose as many different angles that you have by peeking from different positions each time. Not only will it make the enemy less likely to predict your next move, but it will force him to cover a larger area with his rifle, meaning he's likely going to have to move his mouse to get back on target when you decide to peek. You'll notice scavs have it programmed into their AI too, especially scav boss or their guards. They go to the last known position they saw you, so if you're going back to the same angle with them again and again, you are very likely to have a barrage of bullets heading your way. However, opening up many different lines of sight on the scavs will confuse the AI a bit, much like how real players will react, giving you a second or so to engage before they begin firing again. Insider buildings are where some of the most difficult firefights happen in Tarkov, and peeking the same angle becomes almost a necessity. But it's quite difficult to say that peeking the same angle twice is the most common reason people get killed inside of a building, when actually it's just people not checking their corners properly. It's really simple. Take it slow, listen for movement, and make sure every room in the hallway is clear and secure. Clearing a room is actually something I discussed in a previous video, which I recommend you checking out. It goes over 2 main ways I clear rooms successfully using a real world military tactic called slicing the pie. It will be linked in the description and another card annotation on screen if you want to give this a watch as well. My final tip is tip number 10, and that is giving up after a bad day. Now this is not standing up, getting some fresh air or going for a walk because you're frustrated, because that will happen, but it is people giving up in general because they have had a death streak. In the wise words of Jedi, anger and hate are both paths to the dark side, and it is very easy to get frustrated with a game like Escape from Tarkov. It's not a game where you play it for 400 hours and then you're going to be invincible to the players that have just started. It's a game where everyone dies, and they die a lot no matter how many hours they put into it. No firefight is the same, and I guess that's what makes this game so great. Sure, you improve over time while playing the game, getting familiar with certain maps, knowing the layout and the spawn locations, and you may get a better feel on how weapons act compared to the beginners, but it happens to everyone. Maybe you were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, a stutter may have been the cause of your death, or you were caught with your trousers down because you were being too confident. No matter the reason for your death, there is no point making excuses. Tarkov is a game where stats don't give you any advantage. It's purely there for, well, actually I don't know what it's there for. So if you're looking at the overall screen while playing your game, that's going to give you a negative mindset if your survival rate's low or you've not killed as many people as you would like. What I'm saying is, we all have bad days, you just have to get up and move on. Actually, sometimes where I thought, do you know what, that's me done for the day, I play one more raid after and it's made up for all of the bad raids I had that day. Because I make the most money that I can, I just do really well, and if I gave up the raid before, I wouldn't have had that. Sometimes it's best to have a break for a day or two if you are getting that frustrated, but I hear so many people on the Discord and in the community in general saying, this game's so hard, I keep dying, I quit. Like I said, this game isn't Call of Duty, it's a hardcore shooter for a reason. In fact, lately I've been playing Halo on Steam and Call of Duty Warzone just to give myself a change of pace on the weekends. And that's not a bad idea to do either. Sometimes a change of pace is a good thing, and you'll find that if you improve in Escape from Tarkov, you're going to improve in other games as well, because you know certain advantages like sneaking up on people, and you will play the games differently. However, playing other games and expecting to be good at Tarkov instantly, that isn't going to happen that way around. Money is so easily made, so no matter if you lose a few million in gear, you could do a few budget runs and make that back in no time. Tarkov is a drug for sure, and once you get addicted, it's like a roller coaster, you just can't stop. So embrace it, enjoy it, let the drug take over your body and start hearing Suka Bliat in both your dreams and your nightmares. And with that, I leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of 10 mistakes many people including myself have made. If you have learned something from this, then let me know by hitting the thumbs up button below and subscribing to stay up to date with all the Tarkov content and more. Also, let me know down below in the comments what mistakes you have been making. If you feel like sharing these mistakes with more than 2,000 Tarkov drug addicts, then join the Discord and team up with some big dick folk. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in your dreams. Your wet ones. I'd like to thank you all for staying to the end of this video, but before I end it, I want to tell you something about Shadow. Shadow is a company I'm working with to promote max gaming PC settings anywhere you are. Shadow is a cloud-based subscription service, and currently in Europe they're offering the ability to pre-order one of their free new tiers of membership, starting at only £12.99. Or if you live in the US, then Shadow continues to offer their regular subscription service for $30 a month. You can play any games, max settings anywhere you are. If you have a broken down PC, a shitty laptop, or even a Mac, you can still play games like Tarkov in max settings 1440p 60 FPS. And this is actually how I record all my gameplay and stream Tarkov at this point in time. So if you liked how the video looked in this video, then check out the link in the description and it will take you to Shadow's website. You could do more research there, and if you do decide to sign up using the code Samosh, then you will get a discount on your first month. Thank you everyone for watching, toodle pip cheerio, and enjoy your evening lads.